Hello lovely simmers, SimsEclaire here and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we are building kind of like another country house, like farmhouse style build, but this one is a little bit of a European inspired, so I'm calling it like a French country home, and it is also very modern. So I found this house on Pinterest and it basically kind of looked like a mix between a greenhouse and a farmhouse, where they just like placed the greenhouse in the middle of the house itself, and I really liked how that looked, not necessarily having the actual greenhouse a part of the house. So I do separate off a separate greenhouse, but I do end up adding this very modern section in the middle of the home with bright open windows, and it's kind of like, it's where the hallway is, so it kind of just brings a lot of light into the build. And I don't know, I really liked how it looked. Obviously let me know in the comments down below what you guys think, but the shape of the house is pretty much done. This is what the house ends up looking like, and with a few architectural features added, I think it makes the house look really funky and really nice and a little different from some of the other houses I've had. Now you can tell that on the left side of this house is an angled room. So angled rooms in The Sims are very difficult to work with, and I honestly almost gave up on it because the inside of the house, like the floor planning and stuff, was like super weird and just a little awkward in terms of like trying to make that room work. But I really liked how the outside of the house looks, and honestly that's kind of how this entire build went. I built the outside of the house, I did all the landscaping, and then I went onto the inside and I was like, you know, this would look so much better like this, but I love the outside of this house, so I'm going to leave it. Like the upstairs only has a bedroom and a bathroom, and I wanted there to be 2 kids, so I ended up giving them what's it called, bunk beds. But the room is so small and I'm like, I should make this bigger, but the outside of the house is just so pretty. So that's kind of like the theme of this build, is should have done better on the inside, but the outside is just fantastic. So I'm really happy with how this build looks. Even the inside, like, it looks great. Definitely a bit more modern than what I usually do. I used a lot of the Dream Home Decorator pack and a lot of Eco Lifestyle. You can see now that I'm already like overusing those 2 packs, and you can also see what I meant by like that kind of greenhouse style look on the middle of the house. It's like all windows and then a glass roof, and then you can also see in the back left corner I added like an actual greenhouse. Now the greenhouse is very small, and I put like a flower arranging table on the outside. I didn't think that this family like grew their own vegetables. I was definitely thinking it was more along the lines of maybe they ran like a flower shop in town, so they grew their own flowers, they did flower arranging and stuff like that. Not anything super serious in terms of farming, because I did think that this family was way more modern than the typical Henford on Bagley families. I almost thought that maybe they had moved here from like Evergreen Harbor or from the city to open up this flower shop, and they kind of hadn't let go of their modern amenities yet. That's why their house is kind of, you know, definitely different than the rest of the houses in the area, especially considering that this house is up in the mountains, so it's not even by the town center. It's like definitely in the country area. So I thought that that would be kind of like a cute little story, as if they had moved and they hadn't quite adapted to the new world that they lived in yet. But right now we're just working on some of the landscaping. I'm using a lot of debug plants, not necessarily from Cottage Living. A lot of these are actually base game plants. They just kind of fit the style I was going for, especially these like rural apple trees that I have sitting in the front of the house. I don't think they actually grow apples. I think they're just for aesthetics. But they look so pretty, and I loved how they looked, like just framing the front pathway, so I decided to go ahead and place them up there. And then I just have a couple patches of plants here and there, just making the yard look a little overgrown. And then going into the furnishing, so there is a front and a back patio. This front patio is very simple. It just has like a little seating area. I figured maybe like the parents got up, they enjoyed like their coffee looking at the sunset out here, or the sunrise out here, or maybe they, you know, sat down for like some tea or some drinks outside for the sunset. I definitely didn't think they used this space all that much, like for entertaining purposes, but maybe if like you switch out those windows for a sliding door, maybe you could have like an indoor-outdoor kitchen area, because right behind this is where the kitchen ends up being, so then maybe it could be used for entertaining. And then inside, this is where the floor plan gets a little wonky. So right by the front door, there had to be a platform because there was a platform on the outside. And I have to say that's probably the one thing I don't like about platforms, is that even if you have, I wish that if the house was raised on a foundation, you could just add a platform next to the foundation to match the height, because I wanted there to be steps leading from the front patio, but I didn't want it to be actual stairs. So I initially had the whole house raised on a foundation, and I wanted to just put a platform that was like one step lower than the foundation next to the foundation to act as that step. But it wouldn't let me do that because it kept saying that the foundation heights didn't match. And I really wish that they would fix that and we could just put that in there, so that way when we do play with the foundations on the outside, it doesn't necessarily affect the build on the inside. But that's just my little piece. I don't know what you guys think about that, but that's been my biggest issue with the platforms, is just how like using them in one area just completely affects everything else in the build. But in here is the living room. So like I said, I use a lot of Dream Home Decorator, and I also use some Tiny Living and also some Seasons, because some of the Seasons items are a little bit more modern despite them being kind of like a craftsman or aiming for a craftsman style. And I have a TV and also a gaming area, because I did think that the kids probably, you know, like I said, they grew up in the city initially, so I thought that they probably were gamers. They didn't really read all that much. They kind of like watched their TV. They played their games, they sat inside, you know, stuff like that. And I also didn't give the kids a desk because I didn't have enough space. So, and there's no dining room table either. So I don't know where these kids are doing their homework. So maybe they just don't do homework. Maybe they really don't like school. Maybe that's what the storyline will be, since they have nowhere to do their homework. And then over here is the hallway that I was talking about. So I do kind of line it with plants because I wasn't quite sure how to decorate it, because I didn't want to put curtains up because I liked the natural light coming in, but I also didn't want to leave it blank. So I ended up putting like a couple of like benches there, so like your Sims can sit right by the window, and then also some plants. And then this is where the kitchen is. So it's a little bit of a smaller kitchen than what I'd usually put in a house this size, but the angle of the room next to it meant I couldn't like build into that room. So it was a little bit of a wonky space to work with, but I think it ends up looking really nice. And considering this family, you know, they're not really that homely, I didn't think that they would necessarily cook all that much to begin with, so having a smaller kitchen isn't a bad thing. And also it's completely functional, so it's not like they couldn't cook in this kitchen anyway. But it's all Dream Home Decorator stuff, a couple of random decorations from some of the other packs. I'm trying to use more of this like plant kit that we got because I love all the plants in it, but I never use them. So the plant kit and then the industrial kit came with some pretty good plants, and I don't know if you saw me trying to use that like really big one, but it's huge. It's like the size of a wall, and I never realized it was that big, and I wanted to place it like as a liner for where the windows are, but it just wasn't gonna work. And then I meant to place it outside, like find a space for it outside, but I completely forgot about it when I got to decorating the outside. So one day I will find a place to put that really big plant, but for now I have no idea where to put it just because it's so big. But in here, this is the half bath that's right off the living room. I forgot to decorate it when I was furnishing the living room, so I did just like pop back over and decorate it real quick, because we're also going to be jumping into the master bedroom, which has its ensuite. Now the ensuite, as you can tell, is shaped very weirdly, but as a bonus, it works for these tubs that I never get to use because I never put like a weirdly shaped room in my builds. So with this like angle over in the corner, I was able to use this fitness stuff pack tub. Now it doesn't fit perfectly, but it is still usable, so your Sims can definitely take their baths in there. And then I quickly decorate the countertop and the toilet area. I didn't want to put too much clutter in this because it's already at an angle, which means the Sims are going to have a hard time routing into that bathroom to begin with, so I didn't want to put too much around or too much in there that could keep the Sims from getting into the bathroom and using the bathroom. And then in here is the master bedroom. So I do end up building like a custom closet, and I wish I had had a little bit more space so that way I could have closed in the closet, so it could have looked like it was like a walk-in closet versus it just being in the bedroom. But I still think it looks really good. I use obviously the Dream Home Decorator stuff, and I haven't been building a lot of custom closets with this pack because that's not really my thing. You guys know me, I prefer my cozy, kind of like rustic style builds, and this is definitely more of like a modern thing to have these open, like fully built out closets. So I don't really do it all that often, but I had a lot of fun with this one, and I got to use the blue, which I don't usually use the blue color, but I kind of themed this room around like the colors of blue, cream, and natural wood tones, so it definitely worked out in my favor. And then upstairs we're doing the landing area. It's very simple. It doesn't even fit like a seating area because it's very small. And then we're about to also jump into the kids' bedroom, and then you'll see what I was talking about with the whole aesthetics on the outside versus functionality on the inside. So the kids' bedroom is a very, very narrow and long room. It fits the bunk beds on one wall, and there's pretty much no space for anything else in this entire room. So I almost contemplated taking out the bunk beds and doing like a loft bed with a desk, so that way the kid would have some space to do some activities. But then another part of me was like, maybe the family moved here to get their kids outside and to like keep their kids from being inside all the time, you know, get out of the city, get out of, you know, just get outside and stuff. So I was like, so maybe they did that on purpose, like they gave the kids a purposely small room. But I also wanted the kids to be able to have a little bit of fun, so I did add like a toy chest and one of the stuffed animals that they can play with. I definitely thought that they were just aged from toddlers. I thought they were twins, and then just aged from toddlers, so they weren't quite at teenage level yet, because I don't know how you'd fit 2 teenagers in that bedroom. But you can figure that out if you want to play with 2 teenagers. And then out here on the back patio, I just get a seating area like I always do, a little bit of a grill, and then just another like couch area for the Sims to sit at and relax instead of like sitting at the table. And then I'm also going to be filling in the greenhouse. Now, like I said, the greenhouse is very small. It only fit 3 planters, and I put flowers in all the planters. I went into the debug menu and just grabbed all of the flowers that I could find, and then I did go through and plant them as well before I uploaded the house to the gallery. So the planters should be completely full and planted for your Sims to use. But besides that, that is it for this build, so I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all next time. Bye!